A recent memo from Nevada's Legislative Council Bureau says Northern Nevada is poised to become the second largest data market in the world.
Can Nevada deliver the energy, water, and land needed to fill that role? Fox 5 Investigates wanted those answers. Joe Vigil is here to tell us what you've learned about these data centers.
Yeah, so several data centers have been quietly operating here in southern Nevada for more than a decade without attracting much attention. But these days, more and more campuses are coming online faster and faster, and that is causing residents and community leaders to ask if they're really worth all they consume.
At that point, we were talking about centers that might use 40 megawatts of power, kind of the size of a casino or something like that.
Michael Brown ran Nevada's Economic Development Office under Governor Sisolak and watched the data center boom unfold from the inside. He says the AI-driven explosion that followed was nearly impossible to predict.
And then suddenly, about 2 years ago, this whole concept of these hyperscale data centers, where now we were talking about facilities that might use 400 megawatts of power, 500, 1,000, because artificial intelligence was now driving this.
Switch, a homegrown Nevada company, helped ignite the boom. Its Las Vegas core campus now spans more than 2 million square feet. The state dangled tax abatements as high as 75% to lure the industry.
And I understand the thinking at the time was that we wanted to attract the attention of the technology community over in Silicon Valley. And my predecessor and the previous Governor Sandoval, was like, how do we get some of the investment from Silicon Valley over here?
It worked, but it came with a price tag, enough energy, water, and land to keep the centers running. And some say Nevada isn't ready to pay it.
There's uncertainty in whether we can build out generation and transmission fast enough to keep pace with data center developments, or if these developments will overwhelm our utilities planning cycles.
Hensel is a scientist at the Desert Research Institute. His research shows data centers already consumed 22% of Nevada's power in 2024. By 2030, just a dozen centers could burn through nearly 3 times the electricity Hoover Dam generates. NV Energy tells Fox 5 it's building hundreds of miles of new transmission lines to keep pace.
One of our core responsibilities is to plan for both the energy needs of Nevadans today and well into the future.
But data centers that need additional infrastructure will have to foot that bill themselves.
Something to consider is that Nevada, of course, has the propensity for drought combined with the fact that many of our states' hydrographic areas are over-appropriated, meaning we've taken more water than what can be naturally recharged.
In 2024, Google's Henderson Center gulped down more than 404 million gallons of water, all of it turned to mist, none of it recoverable. Google tells Fox 5 it's funding sustainability projects across the valley to offset that use. But data centers like Google are grandfathered out of a 2023 ban on evaporative cooling, a restriction every other new commercial building must follow. Even if a developer has adequate power and water, they still need a place to put their centers. Most of Nevada's land is federally owned, leaving little room for industrial growth without any act of Congress. Story County cracked the code, building a district east of Reno that tackles all 3 resource challenges at once. 7 data centers are already there and more are coming. But it's not a model every community can copy.
But I guess when you take those 3 issues, energy, water, land, we just can't sign on every proposal that comes through the door.
We have this opportunity to assert Nevada as a central player in the increasingly digital world. But at the same time, there are challenges like increasing grid and water stress that we have to navigate.
Some cities aren't waiting. They are hitting pause right now. So in June, Henderson joined the ranks of cities taking a second look at data centers. And this past May, Reno became the first city in Nevada to enact a moratorium on new centers, although it expires in August of 2027. Activists in Boulder City tried to add a data center question to the November ballot, but it did not get enough signatures. And Nye County's water district recently approved an emergency request for abandoned Pahrump, this to preserve diminishing water resources. Jacqueline, back to you.
And we should note, our producer reaching out to Switch, Nova, and Google for our story. While they were willing to give us some information, all declined our invitation to speak on camera. All of them denied our request for a tour of one of their campuses.